Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Marcus here again, and I got a few questions I'd like to ask before I make statements. Who made another man more important than you? Who made a woman less important than a man? You got an answer? You think Moses is more important than you? Why? You think Jesus is more important than you? Why? Somebody told you that, right? Well, let me ask you. The creator of you and Jesus, man and woman, didn't make any of you more important than another. Each of you got roles and responsibilities in life, and you have them because they are absolutely necessary. What makes you think that a person who can build a bridge across a river is more important than a person who can dig a ditch? Let me ask you something. What makes you agree and accept the fact that people can own land? What makes you think that they can own land? What makes you think that people can own the resources of the earth? They can use them, but what makes you think they can own them? They told you that. They made rules and regulations set up saying that it's real, it's legitimate if they do that. You were made to enjoy life on this earth, and no one was supposed to prevent you from enjoying that life. And if anyone tried, you have the responsibility to prevent them from doing so. No man is supposed to be enslaved to another. No man got dominion over another. The only thing that can work if people working on the same thing, they can make decisions that everybody can play a part in and everybody's blessed by it. But you're not subservient to anyone on earth unless you give up your power, give up the God in you, and submit yourself to the evil one, because the evil one will claim to own the land, will claim to own the resources, will claim to own you and make you a slave. Today, you got men all over the earth trying to abuse others, take what they have for themselves. For those of you who probably don't know that much about the earth, you don't have to go too far. Look at your president, Donald Trump. You know what Donald Trump does to the American people? Donald Trump makes the American people, to the rest of the world, look like they are just like him. If anybody thinks that Donald Trump is dumb, that he's ignorant, that he's stupid, the rest of the world thinks that same thing about you as an American. It doesn't matter if you get what degrees you have. It doesn't matter what schools you've gone to. It doesn't matter what positions in life you held or hold. It doesn't matter. Whatever Donald Trump is, that's how you are seen as. And you really are, because if you weren't, you would not give it your power. Now, why do you give it your power? Because of lack of knowledge. You're not really stupid, you just don't have the knowledge. And the people who have had the knowledge, who stood up, they, in regards to that knowledge and utilize that knowledge, were killed. And why were they killed? Because they were supposed to be killed. They were not supposed to live in a world like this. Oh, you don't know any better, so you think that they are gone. You think that they are no more. You think that the God that made them cannot save them. Why would a God make all of those people on earth, give them all the same rights, the same legitimacy, and they all turn their back on the power that made them and become subservient to an abuser? Why would they do that? And then why do you think that God would intervene on your behalf? The most that God could do is give that information to you, share it with you, and then depending upon how weak you are, depending upon how lost you are, he might send someone to tell you just what your situation is. But he's not going to change it for you. Oh, you might stand up and do something, and once you start doing something, you will find that God will back you all the way. But when you're sitting down, waiting for the rapture, waiting for someone to come out of the clouds and whip somebody side the head for you, that's because you lack information. Now, what have I just said? I have just said that before you be a slave, God would be pleased to see you dead and buried in your grave. Why? Because he can snatch you right out. Bring you back here for what? Why would Dr. King come back to this earth? Why? Why would Malcolm X come back to this earth? Why? Why would Gandhi come back to this earth? Why? They know the story. They know this is hell. And they've given everything they have to help the people recognize that this is hell so that they themselves might, with that knowledge, step out of hell. But you didn't step out of hell. You found a comfort zone. Some of you found comfort in finding the kind of job that pays you some money that you could do some of the things that you want to do. Some of you found the idea that you are fantastic, you got something going on and you can play the ladies. And that's good for you. Or you are a lady and you can play the men. Now that's good for you. But recognizing the Heavenly Father, the maker of the universe and all that exists and lives, well, you really can't when you don't even know. But that's where you're missing at. Seek ye first the kingdom of God. How can you do that when you don't even believe in God? Trump, Netanyahu, killing babies, bombing babies, killing old people, blowing up hospitals. That makes them somebody. Can you believe it? They say that they are somebody because they are evil. They will do it to you. And you know what? God will let them. Why? Because you are asking for it. You are a part of it. You have to stand up and say no more. Every individual on this earth has the same power as any other. But you have to utilize that power. You don't give it to somebody else to abuse people. Look at the Department of Justice. A woman's supposed to be in charge. Look at the FBI. A man's supposed to be in charge. CIA. I don't know who's in charge over there. But look how they bend the knee to somebody who talks about them, to somebody who will call them shithouses and mugs, whatever you can think of that's nasty. They yield to it. I know Miss Bundy never thought that she would be so compromised. This guy in the FBI never thought he would be so compromised, but now they welcome it because it gives them something to feel that they are bigger than you. And you sit back on your lawn, allowing them to. But when the war comes and the bombs start being dropped here in the United States of America by people who are fed up with it, those bombs are not going to stop because you live in here. They're going to tear your butt up just like it did the butts over in Gaza, just like it's tearing up the butts in Ukraine, just like it's tearing up the butts anywhere that you drop a bomb. You're not protected from that. And for those of you who think that Jesus is so much more than you, Jesus was made just like you. Jesus was vulnerable just like you, but Jesus chose not to be, they say. And rather than that, he went to the cross so that you can know that before you sell your soul, go to the cross. That is the door to freedom. I want every last one of you to think of it like this. Every human being on earth is in hell. Let me say that again. Every human being on earth is in hell. The babies are born into hell. Everybody is in hell. And what are you here for? to grow up. What does that mean? That means to learn that you are in hell, and to learn that you don't have to be, and to learn that the power of getting out of hell is in your hand. It's not somebody coming and liberating you. You wake up yourself and say, I refuse hell. And when you say you refuse hell, hell will help you get out of here. But you can't say that. Why? Because you don't know any better. You're just plain cowards. You were raised to be a coward. And those who try to tell you about God was not here long enough. They didn't deserve to be. Why are they going to stay here? Just stay here amongst you. Stay here amongst you. Do you know that there are people who are here amongst you, and they talk the talk, and there were times when they tried to do the walk, but they couldn't do the walk. Why? Because they themselves were afraid. They told themselves it was better to stay here, that maybe one day you might recognize something and you might wake up because of something that they did. That was the lie they told themselves, because it haven't helped you. Right now, you hate. You're bigots. You might say, well, I don't hate everybody. You hate somebody. You're a bigot toward somebody. You're ignorant toward a lot of people. But you think you are all of that. No, my friends, that's what happens when you're blind. That's what happens when you're ignorant. That's what happens when you are in hell. You don't know better. Me, myself, let me use me for an example. Maybe some of you can understand. I was in hell, and I'm still in hell. But I used to find comfort in hell because I had bought into a lie that there was going to be someone that was going to come and save me. Yes, I became a demon, just like everybody else. But I'm just telling you, I was a demon. You think you're good. You just a demon. Everybody in America is right over there with Donald Trump and everything that he's doing. I see you on TV trying to find a way out, trying to tell Iran that you are not a part of this, trying to tell the rest of the world that this is their fight. This is white people doing. This is MAGA's doing. No, this is not MAGA's doing. This is all of our doing. All of our doing. And while you might be walking around here with your mouth stuck up, hating somebody for some reason, it doesn't make any difference. There's still hell. That's the way hell operates. You think you got it going on. For me, my plan was to be killed. Yes, that was my plan, to be killed by you. Just be killed by you, because my message to you was what I've been sharing with you. I've sought after the presidency of the United States several times so you could maybe get a chance to hear my message and it might touch you. I've committed crimes against the state in order to get perhaps an audience with you so that I can share the message of love with you. Hey, but that I was still in hell. I'm still in hell. And I apparently can't even get your attention enough to be killed. To be killed. I used to want to live. You know, when you think somebody love you, you might want to live. But when you walk around and think about everybody hates you, when you walk around thinking about no one got nothing decent to say about you, no one, because you are not like them. And you have to see that, put up with that. No. And don't worry about it. They're hoping you die. Just because somebody won't kill you. They're hoping you die. And I see what happened with ICE. I see how it is abusing the people's lives here in America. I see how the devil is trying to send people that were searching for some reprieve, thinking that America offered it, and now they're finding out just how much of evil America it really is. But they say, go back to your shit house homes. Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. It was made and designed that you could have your needs, your wants, and your desires met. That your participation in life would be, and with the resources that's given, could be engaged in such a way that you wouldn't suffer for anything. Anything that you could imagine can be made, and in an abundance, or anybody that wants to share with it could. You don't have to suffer for anything. Needs, wants, and desires met, which would allow you to live in peace and be free, prosperous, and joyous and happy, fulfilled and satisfied, and live the life. I say it all the time. Live the life rather than dream about the life. But you say no, because somebody said you couldn't do that. Democracy says you couldn't do that. Capitalism says you couldn't do that. White folks said you couldn't do that. And in other places, black folks and other folks said you couldn't do that. And you bow down on the knees and say, Lord, come and save me. Come on, you got to be out of your mind. Why would God save you when you turn your back? That was someone that said that God is in you, that heaven is in you. All of that wonderful stuff is in you already. So tap into it, they say, and let it shine. But nah, you'd rather live in hell. Just think about it like this. Those of you who are asleep tonight, when you wake up tomorrow morning, if you do, you're going to be still in that same old hell you was in today. And you know what? You didn't do anything about it today, and you're not going to do anything about it tomorrow. Why? Because you're satisfied with hell. And you're satisfied because you do not know better. And you know what? The only ones that can tell you better is that which is in you. I can say these things to you, but it doesn't mean anything. You're going to have to go inside yourself. You're going to have to find the truth within you. That's the kind of truth that will give you the bones to stand up. That is the kind of truth that will give you the ability to say no more. Ladies and gentlemen, you are in hell, not just here in America, Canada, Mexico, Russia, the East, the West, the North, the South. We're all in hell. And if you were not in hell, you'd be trying to make this a better world, not just for some, but for everyone. And you would be effective enough for the people to be tapped into it and start making these changes, or you would be dead because you are not welcomed here. You're here because you are a part of hell. You are. Let me say it one more time. You are here because you are a part of hell. Believe it, because it's real. All right. Goodbye for now.